Things were dark and scary, and one could not imagine how people used to survive with no food at times, no place to relieve oneself. It was so inhuman, and no human deserved such treatment. But the times have changed, and we are going to reconcile all that.
My name, Morgan Mensah, welcoming you to the facility. You have the liberty to ask questions as we go along. Soon we do the male dungeon. We'll talk briefly about the graves here, why we have them there. Also to condemned cell. A very long tunnel that connected the male and the female dungeons. We shall first of all work on it, give you the opportunity to see part of it. It will take us to the female dungeons, also to door of no return. We go beyond that to the fishing village. We will come back to the castle through door of return. The narrative was changed on the 1st of August, 1998, after we first ever held our Emancipation Day festival in the country. Time permitting, we move upstairs to see where some of the various colonial appointed governors who serve in this castle stayed. As you may be aware, until Accra became capital of Gold Coast, first it was Cape Coast and the seat of governance right in this very facility. On the 19th of March 1877, because of politics and economics, the then governor at the time, Sir Sanford Freleng, and his team decided to move the seat of administration from this facility to Accra Castle. Now we have the Jubilee House or the Flagstaff House. We went the tour of the Palaver Hall where the buying and selling of the enslaved Africans officially held. We also visit Condemned Cell. Aside the dungeon, they had a place called Condemned Cell. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, this is the third and the last slave castle in Ghana, English, after 1664. However, this piece of land changed hands from the Portuguese, Swedish, Danes, Dutch, and finally the English. Over the same spot. The Portuguese were given the credit as the first Europeans to have landed on our shores. Apparently, they were exploring the west coast of Africa to Asia. The next moment, they said they were here as missionaries, teach you the Bible, a way to God Almighty. Kill your African traditional faith and Islamic faith, which was developing at a faster rate as a result of the trans-Saharan trade when we engaged the Arabs. The next day, they said there was this yellow mineral that was so dear to their heart. For that reason, they will stay. You know the yellow mineral? So they name your land Gold Coast, La Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast. The next moment, they said they needed strong men and women from this soil to go and do hard work for them in Americas and the Caribbean communities. In that, native brothers Indians there were not too strong enough to cope with the prevailing climatic conditions at the time. So they needed us. Then they introduced the transatlantic slave trade. And therefore, present-day Togo, Benin, Nigeria was then referred to as Slave Coast. So for Portuguese, they had Ivory Coast, Gold Coast, and then Slave Coast. Elimina Castle was built after 1482 under the leadership of one Don Diego de Azambuja. Portuguese began raiding the nearby communities because hitherto they had to transport enslaved Africans from Weda in Benin, Calabar, Badagry in Nigeria to Elimina, almost 6 weeks interval. So it got to a time, by the time they got there, some were already dead. So why don't we get some from the immediate environment? So they did the raiding. But because they didn't know Kumasi, Sunyani, Wenchi, Techiman in the middle belt of Ghana, then they had to engage the African, where they supplied them the ammunitions to intensify tribal wars. So therefore, people brought here as enslaved Africans, most of them were innocent. Over 90% of them never committed any crime whatsoever in their villages. You, for instance, cultivating the land with your husband. I had a gun, he didn't have it. I captured him. You don't want to lose him. Trying to fight me, get your husband, and then I shackle you against him and march you downwards. Your Excellencies, as we stand here, just one warning shot all of us here will scatter. So the power of gun promoted the trade to a very large extent. Slave raiding, kidnapping. For you to walk from present-day Burkina Faso, then known as the land of honest men, also became Upper Volta. Tamale, Yendi, Sisala, Salaga, one of the biggest and largest slave markets at the time in northern Ghana. Through Kintampo, Sunyani, Wenchi, Kumasi in the middle, Asin Mansu, where you get your last shower, perhaps. It's about 65 kilometers away from here on the Cape Coast Kumasi Highway. We still have the river flowing called Adonkonsio, to which the slaves river. If you took shower there, they will smear you to look attractive. And once you arrive in the castle, Palava Hall, they will take you the last floor, examine your strength, your teeth, before they will buy you or reject you. So, dear brothers and sisters, your excellencies, it wasn't every single being brought to the slave castles that had a purchase as slave. Europeans took away the best of the best from the African soil, leaving behind the aged, the weak, and the lame. Human beings here were exchanged for fabrics, mirror, gunpowder, drinkables like whiskey, shrimp, or rum, butter trade, butter system. After checking your teeth, your muscles, to make a determination that buy him, don't buy him. Having done that, this same courtyard where I met you first, roared from fire, oil, and then oh yes, but there were different entities, company A, B, C, and D. In other words, Manchester Company, Liverpool, Plymouth, Bristol. Just last Sunday, Manchester played Liverpool, and you know the result. Yeah. The rivalry didn't start today. Centuries ago, that's what they did here. Each of them wanted to get the best of the best from the enslaved. It just transcended to the football arena. So for us, some of us, it is no surprise to us. Because if you bought, I also bought, they were all going here. How are you going to identify your captive from mine? If you are the only person in the business, there was no need branding us. Because everybody here automatically belongs to you. But here was the case, you own, she owns, he also owns. So the branding, the English will tell you purely for identification. After that, the men here, the women about 100 meters away from here. And right above the male dungeon was also a church. That was it. They call it Society for the Propagation of the Gospel, SPG, which later metamorphosed to Anglican Church. And Methodist Church of Ghana began at where we have the graves, Roman Catholic Church of Ghana, Elimina Castle, Presby Church of Ghana, the castle in Accra. So Christianity in Ghana, where did it start? The castles. When our brother was here 12 years ago, we told him that above the dungeon was a church. He was also shocked to the marrow. He didn't. I said, what? Did I hear you right? Yes, you did. Logically, it doesn't gel. Economically, to them, it made sense. Later, the National House of Chiefs of Ghana presented this piece of information, which reads in everlasting memory of the anguish of our ancestors. May those who died rest in peace. Those who returned find their roots. And may humanity never again perpetrate such injustice against humanity. We, the living, vow to uphold this. Similarly, apologetic sound. Fine, we can take it like that, but that's what the chiefs are saying, that we should forgive them for ever involving themselves actively in the slave trade business. Also, there was a deceit on the part of the Europeans, who says exploration, evangelism, gold trading, and finally, slave trading. So here it's so difficult for us to judge. Event that occurred here, the man there will decide why it happened, who was at fault, who wasn't. We'll leave that. I also mentioned that this land was one time occupied by Portuguese. Yes, when they were in Elimina, 1482, by 1555, some of the officials settled on this piece of land and therefore named the area here Cabo Corso to mean short cape. It was therefore the English who changed Cabo Corso to mean Cape Coast. Later, Swedish took over because the Portuguese abandoned the area. Why? If a whole castle, they've lost it to the Dutch after 1637, what was the use for the wooden structure here? Later, Portuguese left for Angola, Mozambique, Equatorial Guinea, Kenya, where they built a whole slave dungeon named after Jesus Christ. Fort Jesus is at Mombasa.
Yeah, we are there.
So Swedish took over and expanded the wooden structure to bricks called Fort Karlsberg. The Danes did, the Dutch. So when the Danes were defeated there, they moved to Accra and built the Osu Castle, before English also expanding the fort into a status of a castle. So Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, basically this is the brief history about the Cape Coast Castle. As we go to the dungeon, a lot to see, a lot to be told. Good afternoon.
We were ushered in by our tour guide, Mr. Morgan Mensas, who was very enthusiastic about his work and very welcoming, where he took us to the dungeons to see where the slaves were kept, and it was such a chilling emotion. The experience was overwhelming because when we entered the dungeon, it was dark, emotional. We could not even contain ourselves, hearing what the tour guide was explaining. The state that the slaves were kept were inhuman. We were all told to hold the walls so that we can connect with the ancestors. Say something, talk to them, feel them. And the emotions that came out of that place was overwhelming.
No one can stop us now. No one is going to stop us now.
Your Excellency, you have no emotions. You are already protected.
This is not emotions. This is that we're back home.
Dr. Melinda Barros could not contain herself, knowing that this is where all started, the journey where her ancestors were taken from. And not only Melinda, but almost every other person who was in the room felt the same. They felt connected.
Your Excellencies, the male dungeon is about 40 meters long and between 700 and 1,000 human beings were confined in the whole dungeon. The very first place we visited accommodated between 150 and 200. And if you multiply that by five sessions in all, we're talking of 700 to 1,000. And sorry to say, we are at the moment all standing on fecal matters of our ancestors. The black material you see here is composed of poo-poo, wee-wee, throw up, tears, sweat, blood of our ancestors who perish here. Yeah. Beneath, we have the bricks, as we saw in the first room there. In fact, archaeological work was undertaken here in 1972, which gave information that part of the dungeon was covered to a certain height with poo-poo, wee-wee, and the rest. And after the activities, they retrieved shackles in the first room there. Some were taken to the main museum gallery. But because of the COVID, the main museum is shut down for close to 20 months now. And the other lateral to the pool, the wee, and the rest, spread them in the remaining 4 sections. This is why you don't see the bricks easily here. African traditional temple, also we have here. The object of worship is the rock. Elsewhere, lakes, rivers, lagoons are used as mediators between mankind and then the Creator. The priest, I saw him around not too long ago. I'm surprised on him. We have 77 of them in the metropolis. And this is the leader. Nana Tabil is the name. Nana here means chief, king, or... Yeah. So in the case of the Accra gang, we say Ni. Malians, we say Mansa Musa. Igwe is to Nigeria. And Na is to northern Ghana. And then Togbi is to Beninois, Togolese, or Voltarians of Ghana. From this very angle, all the way to the side marks the beginning of a very huge underground tunnel behind this very wall. This is the width. Your Excellencies, don't worry, very soon we shall work on it. I will give you the opportunity to look through a certain point, and then you see part of the tunnel. When the men were here, no altar this way. So open space, once the slave ship from England arrived, and slave Africans here never went out this way. Rather, this was the way out. Either shackled riders against one another, or those that both arms and legs shackled, there you move to join the women at door of no return. Around 1833-34, after slave trade finally ended in British West Africa, Captain George McLean, the president of the London Merchant at the time in the castle, ordered the closure of the tunnel. Because 1807, as some of us knew, it was first abolished in England, but it didn't stop until later William Wilberforce, Thomas Clarkson, Gavin Sharp, Chief Justice of England at the time, Mansfield and his team, continuously kicked against it, and eventually Queen Victoria said enough was enough. The Dutch, however, were the last group to stop the transatlantic slave trade on our soil up until 6th of April, 1872, in Elmina Castle. That was the day they brought their flag down, and then it was replaced by the English, because the English by then, on mutual account, had taken over the Elmina Castle. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot see the tunnel from here, but don't you worry, we'll get to the appropriate angle.
After leaving the cell, we were taken to the courtyard where we saw 3 graves of Ghanaian ministers who were brought to teach the word of God.
Aido. We are Aidoers. Aido. We are Aidoers. Aido. We are Aidoers.
Officers, because of their deeds here, they were unable to win souls from the local community to worship God with them. So the idea came in that, why don't we train a black person so that he can do the propagation for us? So Thomas, William, and Philip were given such opportunity. 2 months upon arrival in England, the former 2 died, and Philip, the latter, survived, attended a school at Oxford where he studied theology and education. So after ordination, he came back to continue with the evangelism drive. In fact, upon recommendation of one Reverend Minister Thomas Thompson from the church, SPG, Society for the Propagation of the Gospel. And upon arrival, he said, he cannot continue preach the sermon whilst he sees his own people being molested in a dungeon. So he began accusing the officers for wrongdoing. And at the point in time, they asked him, Philip, what do you know in the Bible that we, the officers here, don't know? Are you the one coming to tell us the good from the bad? In any case, from whose purse did you get the education? As a result, Your Excellency, they stopped paying him his salary. He died here in 1816, aged 75, with a salary arrears of £369 sterling, yet to be paid. The top one, soldier man by name C.B. Whitehead, died at the time the English-Dutch were fighting on our land in the name of gold human resource, 38 years. And then the last 2, the couple. At the extreme end, George McLean, who spearheaded the closure of the tunnel, went ahead and established the first court of justice on our soil, also helped Commander Hill to sign the treaty popularly known as the Bond of 1844, which invariably gave room to the English to colonize us for 100 years. He died of malaria attack. The wife, Letitia Elizabeth London, visiting her husband. 2 months later, she was also found dead in one of the rooms there. Sources had it that she poisoned herself out of jealousy, because McLean had gone for another woman, Ellen Benjamin by name. Second school of thought said Ellen could have maybe connived with McLean to poison Letitia dead, or the yellow fever malaria, which was very common at the time. Remember, at a point in time, they named the west coast of Africa as a white man's graveyard, meaning when they come, they don't live longer. 2 months, 6 months, 1 year, boom, dead. It is today that for so many years they can stay. So, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Philip Kweku, old age 75, CB Whitehead, gunshot 38, George McLean, malaria 46, Letitia Elizabeth London 36 years, and we have yellow fever, malaria, suicide, poison, jealousy. I leave that one to you.
We were later taken to a courtyard where the slaves used to come out and eat, stretched and refreshen themselves, also fetching water. And this is the same spot where the European used to look at the girls and the ladies, and they used to choose on who to rape.
In the morning, in the evening, women here, men this were fed on energy-giving food many a time, roasted cassava, occasionally boiled yam with fish or meat. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes they brought them out to stretch their muscles because they have sat for a long time with stiffer muscles. So while stretching the muscles over here, when it's raining heavily, then it meant you took shower inadvertently. But for you to go to the bathroom and do this, no. Unless, of course, the officer stood up there and selected you or chose you to rape you. Excuse me, only the genitals were covered, so Bobby stand. And upstairs, the officer stood. Go and bring me this or that. Once you were chosen, they will take you to the shore, wash off you, fetch this, bath you, and then to the bedroom. After the rape, back to the dungeons. And if you said no to rape and you fought him there, they wouldn't talk much. They had a punishment cell for you to change your mind.
Aido. We are Aidoers. Aido. We are Aidoers. Aido.
This particular section was for people like Yasantua, Nani, Maya, Harriet Tubman, and those freedom fighters in the case of the women. And women who said no to rape were forcibly incarcerated in this room, punishment cell until you change your mind. And what officer will do for you to change your mind was so simple. Door locked, iron bar crossed over here. Food very little in and out this way.
What is that? Food.
And if you were defiant, they wouldn't talk much. He also says, thank you very much. Please come out and see why you will eventually agree to disagree. This was in English. You will be forced to carry one of the mortar balls there. Those black balls. 20 to 30 kilograms. That's the amount of the weight.
Watindi Mogoto. You strike a woman, you strike a rock.
Cultural heritage, advocate for unity and social change. Hey, advocation of human rights to live for better life today and tomorrow. Transformation of communities by empowering self-sustainability.
We were taken to a torture chamber. They had 3 different cells where the slaves were kept according to the crimes they have committed.
If you did that, they say you were stubborn. Maybe 3 days ago you fought Madam A, a day before Madam C, and just now this officer, you nearly lynched him. You became a thorn in their flesh. And as I said, they could have shot you dead straight away, but they wouldn't do that. They will bring you here, no food for you, water, light, air, until you drop dead. 3 doors at a time. Immediate one was for the indisciplined English soldiers who got drunk and misbehaved. They had some ventilation. Second, the same thing. So the degree of offense by the officer will determine where you will be placed. But for us, the blacks, from the last door to this end, this was our a journey to our ancestors.
We later reached to the door of no return, where once the slave exited, never returned. Nobody saw them.
Are you media person that's writing your articles? Dr. Barrow says there will be a door of return. It is already, but it's not physical. Please, put that in your newspaper. I am the first one that there's a door of return and bringing the brothers and sisters. And we're going to go through that door. I promise you. I promise you. I have my brothers here with me and they with me. So we are ready. It's done.
Networking to promote cultural heritage, advocate for unity and social change.
Centuries ago, the idea was that once you went beyond this door as slave, you were not coming back. Yes, they may not have come back in persons, but through generations, we keep coming.
Yeah.
And we have changed the narrative to door of return.
Yes.
There we have it.
But this time round, we made a historical turnaround where we left and we came back with songs of victory because we have returned back home. The descendants of the slave trade have returned. Dr. Melinda Barrows came in very overwhelmed, very happy, singing songs of victory, feeling the comeback. And with that first step, we are welcoming all the other descendants of the slave trade to return back home.
We just sons and daughters of the soil.
Mr. Morgan Mensahs was a very nice tour guide who took us through, and we felt that we were there.
Millions died, millions survived. We are the proud descendant of those who survived, despite the challenges that confronted them in the bush, in the castles, and then on the heights.
The journey was emotional, but the great thing is that their ancestors are happy, at peace. We have come to reconcile the ancestors and the descendants for the very first time in African soil.
So what you're seeing here was just a transportation to get to the worst of the worst. And we have facts, pictures. And when they hung them, they will have a Sunday picnic under the bodies, as though that they were animals. So this is why I'm here. I want to bring historians, not just to talk about when they left here, but you need to know what happened once they arrived on the other side. That's the history that's missing in Africa.
Our names were put there. We were the first on the reconciliation journey. Millions died and millions survived. We are the brown descendant of the people who survived.
This is what's happened. This is not, this is real. This really happened, and we're living it, the experience, we're living it. But we're coming out of these cells liberated. And Dr. Barrow would always say, it always starts from the mind. This moment, we want to launch officially the journey to Panama 2022. Right across the cell, right on the right-hand side, we have names of people who have made a history today. And if you look closely, it's got our names right over there. And so this moment would invite Dr. Barrow to launch officially the journey to Panama 2022. Thank you, ma'am.
Mayete! Mayete! Aquaba! Aquaba! I am grateful. I'm so grateful for everything that my brothers and sisters receive me on my land. I am grateful because this is the beginning of unity between our brothers in the Americas and our brothers in the Caribbean and the world. I am grateful because no longer are we going to separate ourselves by names, by region, by country, because we are all one people. I've been dreaming about this for a long time, coming back home. I've been throughout Africa, but this is a mission that God has given me. This is a mission that my ancestors have given me. I just didn't know that it was going to be this tough. But I am grateful to see the seeds. And I am grateful because my brothers, where's Dario? I am glad, Dario. I am glad that my two brothers came with me. You see, this has nothing to do with color. It's the heart.
Yes.
They are here because they wanted to be here. His ancestors from Pakistan. So, my mindset has changed about how I was taught to just think black. And I realized through my ancestors, it's not just about black. It's about what you believe in. It's about your heart, you see. They are getting ready to prepare for you. The ministers and my Dario. They're getting ready to prepare something wonderful for you. And all the media, I want you to promote this. We have to let them know, Colombians, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, all of them that was taking on that other side of the world, that they're welcome now to come home with open arms. And we are going to lead them back home. Yes. It's not going to probably be something permanent, because you just can't leave your home sometimes. But those that can't will. And those that cannot will always have the spirit of Africa, because they do. So I'm glad to be launching something great. I don't think most of us understand what's going to happen, you know. This is going to change the world. If we do this right, we're getting ready to change the world. We're getting ready to change the mindset of our people overseas. They need to understand what happened here. But something that most important, you need to understand and learn what happened to them once they left here. I was able to survive 500 years.
Yes.
Because the spirit within me is from 500 years. Wow. And I found my way back from birth to birth to birth to birth. Hey,
You refused to die.
I refuse to die.
Yes.
And when God take me, guess what's going to happen? There's going to be another Dr. Melody Harris Barrow.
Yeah.
The door of return.
The door of return.
Yeah.
So thank you for allowing me to come with my brothers. I want to thank His Highness. Where is he? His Highness Paul Iganda. We work together. I want to thank, where's Namboka? Ambassador Namboka. I want everyone to know that we worked on this a year. 1 year. We went back and forth. We're trying to figure out what name to give it. Am I right, my brother? And we just are back and forth. But you know what? I have a smile on my face. Come on here, Paul. His Highness Uganda. Because I can't talk without you. This is the man that said yes to me. When I asked him, so what are we going to do? I'm just tired of hearing the same thing over and over about what we're going to do. I was in his conference. And then he called me 2 days later. He probably said, who is this woman coming to me asking me what are we going to do? So I said, he said, what do you want us to do? And I said, this is what I want. He didn't even blink an eye. He just said, let's get it done. You tell us what we should do. And here we are. Can I kiss you? Can I kiss you?
Yes, dear. Can I kiss you on
Yes. And you gotta kiss me. Don't worry. Your wife won't say anything.
Beautiful.
But we are in unity. And everyone that's here, we're going to begin something good. And Reverend Amina and you and everybody, come here, Mama. Come here, because I got to kiss you too. Mwah. I love you, Mwah. Come on, come on. Mwah. Stay right here with me, because all of them you see here, Linda, everybody, they have worked very hard. Anna, everybody have worked very hard to make this happen. They are great people, and we are going to continue this journey. And where's you? You didn't tell me about the door of... I mean, you tricked me really good. But I love the trick, because now I know where the door is to come in, so my people can come back. So thank you very much. Thank you to all the kings and queens that are present here. I appreciate all of you. And Panama, here we come. Here we come, Panama. Here we come.
Sons and daughters of the soil, go to Panama. Go to Costa Rica. Go to Colombia. Go to Latin America. Go to the Caribbean islands. Go to Panama. Remember, we are one. We are one water, one earth, one soil, one mighty God, one land. We are one. Go, go, my children, go, go.
I'm impressed about the fact that all of this, all of the journey began back in those days here in Accra, and But what impressed me the most is just thinking about all of your ancestors, how they were able to endure so much, and how strong is African blood and African people. And on top of that is what impressed me the most is it is how you keep on being noble after just going through this whole suffering and this whole pain, and just coming here yesterday and watching you just singing and keeping positive vibes and just going with the rhythm and showing us through the drums how powerful you guys are and how powerful this soil is. I'm just coming back to Panama and with another way of thinking about Africa and about where we all come from.
Today is a very historical moment for me and Aido Network International. This was a very small idea that we started, that we are going to have a journey of atonement. When Dr. Barrow came with this idea, we thought it was just one of those talks. Today, I stand very proud that I have been part of history to start the journey of healing and reconciliation of Mother Africa and her diaspora. It has been quite very, very emotional seeing the dungeons where our brothers and sisters were kept, how they were sent through the doors of no return to the Latin Americas. It was very emotional. As a president of Aido, I think we have made our contribution. We have walked the talk. We have done what we said we're gonna do, but it's only a start. Seeing that launch and that foundation being put there makes me and the whole of Aido Network, Aidoers, you have done great. This is very, very wonderful for us. This is very touching. I call all of you now, the kings, the queens, the kingdoms, the chiefdom, the traditional rulers of Africa. Join us and make this historical journey across the Atlantic to the Panama come May 15th, 2022. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Anne. I'm happy standing at Cape Coast Dungeon in Ghana, Accra. Aidoers, well done. This is for you. Bayete King Bungane.
Bayete.
Bayete, Your Imperial Majesty, King Bungane III. This is for you. Thank you for inspiring us and leading us to make this historical mark. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We will meet you on May in Panama, and it's going to be another interesting event for all of us. And this all connect us for better. And this is all about sharing culture, sharing our humanity, and about keeping humanity, helping humanity to progress, just one people. So thanks again.
Whatever we have seen, we are told it's just a transportation to the worst. So, Panama, we are here.
Check here, International Development Organization, Aido Network. Aido, Aido.